I think so many people have very interesting relationships with their parents. There's
Hmm.
always a level of love in some way, but you're right. What kind is that? Is that a conditional because they are who they are, we must? Is that more of the unconditional level that you just have usually, with children? But it's a struggle
Hmm.
always, especially because there are generational differences. I agree. My father was very stoic in many ways. It wasn't very, emotionally
Yeah.
out there. And you mentioned that you had these conversations during the pandemic and everything. How
Hmm.
difficult was that? Because what I've realized, Courtney, I'll just give you like a little bit of an example. What I'm getting at is that a lot of the patients I have seen that walk into this center, as many patients I've met across the world, a lot of their initiating factors deal with emotional traumas that are really in a familial relation to parents, to brother, sister, or something
Hmm.
that they simply will not let go, address, speak of, and bottle up and become biochemical issues that are chronic disease factors.
Hmm.
How difficult though was it? Because most people just don't want to touch it. How difficult was it for you to start to address those things with your father, someone that is somewhat closed off emotionally, maybe unavailable and everything? How difficult was that starting point?
Mm. So I did a course called Landmark Forum in San Diego for
Mm,
I think I was 29. And then I was like so drinking the Kool-Aid that there was like an advanced course that I did for my 30th birthday. And it's very much around like old stories and life really has no meaning. Like humans are meaning making machines. Like really, this is just an essential oils bottle. There's
mm,
no meaning to it. We just create meaning around it, right? So everything's very much like as is, it is what it is. And then we create the meaning and we stack. So there were so many golden nuggets in this forum, and then they're all about extraordinary relationships, and like my life truly isn't going to be extraordinary if my relationship with my father, my relationship with my mother is not extraordinary. Kind of the philosophy that I took away. So I remember calling my dad, being like, Dad, you have to do this with me, right? Or
mm.
you have to go do Landmark Forum. And he was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, just like, just chat with them, like just have a conversation. And after a little while, he's like, yeah, okay, I promise. I promise. Because I was like, you promise? He's like, yes, I promise. So they called him up and they said, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're probing, trying to get into, all the, like, they haven't even built a rapport yet, Casper, and they're already asking him about his relationship with his father. And now
Yep.
he's like, click, hung up. And so I call him, I'm like all excited because I'm like, hey, did you register? Did you sign up? And he was like, oh, the French dysfunctional way from my dad's side, like, no, I didn't. No, they asked me about Papa and blah blah blah. And I was just like, huh, okay. And then I hung up on him because I was so I was just like, you could see the generational cycle just in that
Yep.
effect, right? Um, so I didn't talk to him for a week, and that was like unheard of. So
Mm,
he calls me back because I think he felt my energy and was like, oh crap, I really disappointed her. So he called me back and he says a week later, I just want you to let you know that I signed up for Landmark Forum and I took Papa out to lunch. So
ooh,
it was like this massive
mhm.
break. Well, I would say massive. It was a mini breakdown for a really solid breakthrough. So then he did Landmark Forum and, got the gems out of that. And then from there, we were amazing. But that one line during that call, Casper, I said, Dad, I want an extraordinary relationship. Like it would mean a lot to me if you did Landmark Forum. And I just remember him saying, this is why I hung up on him. He said, Courtney, Cody, he goes, our relationship is good enough. And I
Mm,
went click.
mm.
So I kind of, not the hammer, but it was more like the phone, like click. So yeah, that was our turning point. Like truly that was our turning point. And I had to be vocal about it, right? I think that there's a lot of people that want that extraordinary relationship, but for some reason, those hard conversations, we're scared to like, oh my God, what are they going to say? Or maybe we already feel like we know what they're going to say, but that's not even maybe what they're going to say. And we make up
Right.
these stories and we live in the future. instead of just being like right here and right now. So that was just, yeah, I just vividly remember that was a very pivotal moment for our relationship.
I'm sure, and it goes to show it's little actions and just the first attempt alone can be so impactful. Like you said, it was just, hey, Dad tried it, right? You took a risk there, he took a risk. You ended up like not and hanging up, but then look what happened within a week's time. You know,
Exactly.
like it already planted a seed, and that was very difficult. It's often difficult to get your hands in the dirt, dig it out, sit there, wait, be uncomfortable about it.
Oh
But
yeah.
in the end, I'm sure you could say this was such a healing, event for you and your father, two people healing.
Massive. And there's two ways that I could have handled that week, Casper, thinking about it, going back like in time. And it again comes back to how much I've grown and how much I really value myself, and I'm like all self-worth now. And I had tons of self-confidence growing up. I played sports, I was confident. I'd go to parties. I never needed to really drink alcohol. I feel like some people drink alcohol because they're like, it makes me more fun or it makes me more social. And I was like, I don't need to drink. I need a downer, not an upper. you
Right.
know? And so I just feel like confidence was always not a bad, like it wasn't a problem for me. Probably from gymnastics at a young age and just being on the balance beam and being in this, all four events like vault and beam and floor and bars. So, but it was the worth piece. And so that week I remember like I could have drank, like I could have just been like, this is awful. And I just remember not and being uncomfortable with that discomfort, right? And not taking any action and just saying it is what it is. And choosing to go for runs in San Diego, right? Like 75 degrees, America's finest city. I'm like, this is beautiful. Here's where I'm at. It is what it is right now. And I was just so in the mindfulness and so in the present that I
Mm,
didn't need to do anything. And I feel like that's such a big, like massive key takeaway too that I had to learn. Like just be uncomfortable with start being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
yeah.
Like dance in the rain. Yeah, it's kind of wet and it's kind of meh and it's not really like ideal, but holy crap, is it almost and it's almost fun. Like I actually yearn to do that now. I want to go dance in the rain, like rain in especially in San Diego because it never rained.
Yeah. That's an event to truly be
Yeah,
celebrate and run in the streets for in San Diego. Yeah.
exactly.
And it's interesting, like it's the author and spiritual leader Pema Chodron says, wrote the book, Comfortable with Uncertainty, right? And it's true,
Hmm.
nothing in our lives is certain,
Yeah.
and you have to suddenly become very comfortable with it, but it's very, very difficult. We stress about everything.
Yeah.
We, are depressed about the past, we're anxious about the future. And these
Mhm.
days, it's much more prevalent, I think, with the advent of technology, information at your fingertips.
Mm.
A very different upbringing